get them very sentimental about being so far away from their homeland, and they sold a lot of records that way. But none of those songs that you mostly hear on St. Patrick's Day or in Bing Crosby's repertoire, none of those are Irish songs. So where do we go from here? A sea shanty. I don't know if there are sea shanties in the Pine Barrens. But that's all right. A pirate story. Oh, okay. Well, there's a fellow out in the pub in San Francisco, and he's having a few drinks, and sitting next to him is a fella. He's got a patch over one eye, he's got a hook on one hand, and he's got a wooden leg. And the fella says, excuse me, he says, I don't mean to be rude. I'm just kind of curious. I wonder if you could tell me, how did you get your wooden leg? Arr, I remembers well. We was rounding the Horn in the teeth of a gale. Me and me mates, we's holding on the lines. I's not paying attention to what I's doing. I got the line wrapped around me wrist. The wind shifted, the ship lurched to one side, and the line ran taut, it ripped me hand right off. And that's how I got me hook. And me leg, I was in the teeth of a gale one time. I's not paying attention to what I's doing. The line got wrapped around me leg. The wind shifted, the ship lurched to one side, and the line ran tight, and it ripped me leg right off. That's how I got me wooden leg. Well, how did you lose your eye? Arr! One day we's in the doldrums. I's up at the top of the mizzenmast, which we found. I's at the top of the mizzenmast. I's looking for any sign of wind. When I hears something, and I looks up, and there's a seagull flying overhead. That's right, he let fly and dropped one in me eye. I said, wait a minute. You mean to tell me that a seagull pooped in your eye and caused you to lose your eye? He says, well, you see, it happened the first day after I got my hook. I'll do one for you from the original list, which has now been sliced to pieces. This is the first New Jersey folk song. Now, many ethnic songs have been over this country from various places across the big pond. But this is the first one that is entirely about New Jersey. And there's a very interesting man that is involved on the edges of this song. His name is Robert Mills, and he was from Charleston, South Carolina, a very well-known architect who studied under Thomas Jefferson. And he was commissioned to design many of the buildings in Washington, D.C., and also he was the designer of the Washington Monument. And in New Jersey, he designed the Burlington County Prison. And he was very concerned in 1806 that his buildings be fireproof, because a very wonderful building that he designed in South Carolina burnt down 2 weeks after it was opened. So he made sure that fireproofing was an important part of his buildings. This building in New Jersey was also air conditioned. They opened the front door and they opened the back door. And the wind came through, and the ceiling had sort of curves and swoops in it that would grab a hold of the wind and direct it into the little small rooms on the side of the great hallway. Now, you would think that someone who lived in a building like this in 1800, the early 1800s, would be very happy. But they were not happy, and they complained all the time. And they put their complaints in this song, and it's been passed down over the years. So, the Burlington County Prison is also known as the Mount Holly Jail. There's a part for you. It's hard times in the Mount Holly Jail. That's all there is to it. When you go to Mount Holly, it's there you will find an old stone jailhouse, leave all joy behind. It's hard times in the Mount Holly Jail. It's hard times in the Mount Holly Jail. Try it. Hard times in the Mount Holly Jail. And it's hard times in the Mount Holly Jail. Oh, the soup that they serve you is not very sweet. It's full of little worms crawling through moldy meat. And it's hard times in the
Mount Holly Jail.
And it's hard times in the
Mount Holly Jail.
The meatballs they serve you, they say are real fine, but one rolled off the table and killed a friend of mine. It's hard times in the
Mount Holly Jail.
And it's hard times in the
Mount Holly Jail.
There's bugs as big as fat quail. You'll sure go lousy in the Mount Holly Jail. It's hard times in the
Mount Holly Jail.
And it's hard times in the
Mount Holly Jail.
There's old Sheriff Townsend, I almost forgot. He's the biggest old joker in the whole doggone lot. Your pockets he'll pick and your clothes he will sell. He'll spend all your money at his brother's hotel. It's hard times in the
Mount Holly Jail.
And it's hard times in the
Mount Holly Jail.
And every Sunday morning we get a visit from old Preacher Joe. And he'll stand up real straight, the truth he will tell, to save all the prisoners from going to Atlantic City. It's hard times in the
Mount Holly Jail.
And it's hard times in the Mount Holly Jail. Well, I'm getting the little pink finger in the back there, so